Welcome, friends. My name is Avinash and I welcome all of you to another interesting episode of Corporate Face-to-Face series. Friends, in these episodes, we introduce to you emerging companies from emerging sectors, and we make it a point to talk to the promoters and the top managements of such companies, so that all of us can understand their company's business model, their growth journey, their future growth plans. And in this process, a lot of valuable information is shared, with the investors, which helps us take a proper investment call. And today, friends, we have got a very interesting company which is going to hit the capital market very soon. The company's name is Indian Phosphate Limited. And we have the privilege and pleasure of having the promoter and the top management team with us. We have Mr. Ravindra Singh, who's the chairman come managing director of the company. We also have Mr. Rushil Arora, who's also director and promoter. And we also have Mr. Rohit Parmar, director, CFO. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. I'm pretty sure that in this very small interaction with all of you, we'll be able to, get to know your company in a much better manner.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, Ravindraji, I think the first question to you as the promoter of the company would be that if you could tell us, what is the business model of our company and what is the main product line which our company makes? Although, we do know that the company is into lab and, SSP fertilizers. But in your own perspective, if you could tell us what are the products where the maximum revenue comes? And secondly, how did this business journey start? Was it a first generation effort from your side? Or was it a company which was started by your father and then you took it over? So if you could tell us something about your business journey, that would be really be great. Please start.
Thank you. See, we manufacture LAPSA, that is the sulfonic acid. Second, we manufacture fertilizer. The main business is the chemical. The second is hardly 15% is the fertilizer. How you started me, like you asked me about how did I start? My father was into a transport business, into tanker business. So after that, I joined his business. We used to transport chemical for other people, for the fertilizer people. There I thought, let me start my own business where I can carry my own goods. I can manufacture my own things. How it started my first business with this fertilizer, then later on chemical. Initially, we started with the bag business also, SDT bags. But right now in this company, we doing fertilizer as well as chemical. And that's how I started the business.
Fine, understood. Now, Ravindraji, tell me one thing in terms of the capacity for the products. If you could give us some highlights, like what is the capacity for lab as of now? What is the capacity for SSP? And, what is the kind of positioning our company has got in both these products in the domestic market? If you could please share your thoughts.
Right. I'll just let you know about I started this chemical when we talk about LAPSA. Just started with the 12,000 tons capacity initial days, 12 to 15,000 tons. Now we have crossed almost 70,000 tons, 60,000 tons we have crossed now, the capacity. But the next year we are planning will go up to 85,000 tons in LAPSA. About fertilizer, when we talk about fertilizer, the capacity is 130,000 tons, though we are producing almost like 70,000, 60,000 to 70,000 tons.
Okay, fine. And now coming to the end user application for LAPSA, Ravindraji, if you could tell us, which are the sectors which actually consume LAPSA in a big way? If you could give us some sectors which will give us a basic idea about what is the end consumption of this chemical.
Yeah, I'll tell you about this. LAPSA is the main raw metal for the detergent units. One is the main raw metal. 5 to 7% goes into the detergent. This is the main chemical what we are manufacturing in this.
Okay.
And fertilizer, yes, you know about the fertilizer. The consumption is huge everywhere. It is used in all the states. It is used.
So fine. So basically, the major use for LAPSA is on the detergent side. That is what I think comes up. Fine. And on the B2B side, Ravindraji, if you could share with us, since you run a B2B business model, if you could tell us, which are the key kind of customers, if you could give us some names, which could help us understand, what's the kind of profile our company enjoys, because obviously this is a B2B business. If you could share 1 or 2 names, if it is possible for our viewers.
Definitely, sir. When we talk about chemical, it goes like almost like 100%, 99% goes to Unilever only. We do the business with Hindustan Unilever only.
Okay.
The main, yes.
Okay.
And when we talk about fertilizer, we have our own brand.
Okay.
And second, now we have a long-term tie-up with Hindustan Urvarak also. We have a very well brand established, like in Rajasthan, Punjabi supply to Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, UP, everywhere. Even now we have started in West Bengal, Bihar also.
Okay. Okay. Understood. So basically, a well-established clientele you have, which you have developed over a period of so many years. That's very nice to hear.
Yes.
Now, typically, tell me one thing that, currently now FY25 financial year has already started. We are now in the month of August. I want to understand
Right.
what are the kind of demand signals, Ravindraji, you're getting on the ground? How good is demand expected in the current year? Without giving a number, I would not ask
Demand
you
is beautiful.
numbers, but what's the
Demand
kind of
is
demand
beautiful.
prospects expected for the current year? Like?
Yeah, the demand is beautifully. It's really is a high demand. In this year, we are planning to go minimum. When we talk about LAPSA, will be produced around 70,000 tons. We'll cross that also. We'll try to do that. Even when we talk about the first quarter also, whatever the projections are there, we have achieved that. Even the fertilizer, the government is really supportive now, and they are really helping us. The demand is there. There is a huge shortage of fertilizer.
Okay.
Even you can, when you ask, you know about the market, there's a huge shortage. The huge good demand is there.
Okay. I think good to know. Ravindraji, now on the fertilizer side, I was reading some interesting inputs in your draft prospectus. I was looking that, the company has made some arrangements with some entities, for the supply of rock phosphate, which is a very important raw material for SSP fertilizers. Now, can you tell us, what have been these arrangements and how will this benefit the company? Because I believe rock phosphate is a very critical input for you.
Main
As far as
raw
SSP is
material, yes.
concerned. So,
Yes, that is
hopefully, what are these arrangements like? And if these arrangements fortunately, fructify in the coming quarters, then how will that benefit the company?
See, I'll tell you one. In bid, we got one rock phosphate mine in MP, Madhya Pradesh. That is, the work is on. So once we have that, we'll put up it is around 18 to 20% raw material. The rock is available there. We'll put up a beneficiation plant there. Second, very important, recently, we have done a tie-up. We bought a huge quantity low-grade rock phosphate from Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals. Okay. In that company, that is 3S Mineral, where even I have invested money in that as 11% partner in that company. Okay. Okay. And against that, we will be getting approximately 80,000 tons rock phosphate, 75 to 80,000 tons rock phosphate. Okay. Directly from that company to our company, Indian Phosphate. So that will be a huge additional advantage. The cost of 3S Mineral, there will be a huge difference in the cost. Okay. Besides this, we have our own rock phosphate. The second, the mine is ready now. The mine, once we start our mine and we'll have our again beneficiation plants. So we won't be dependent on anyone. We have our own rock phosphate also for this plant. Okay.
So I think good to know that, Ravindraji. Now tell me one thing, when are these, this mine which we have set up and again this arrangement which you have with this company, when are the commissioning of these capacities going to happen? Will we see this happening in at least FY26? Now we are in FY25, but hopefully FY26 में हमको कुछ benefit देखने को मिलेगा. I mean, what is your...
Definitely another 5 months the plant will start. Our 3S Mineral will start, and already 60% work has been completed. It's in the full swing. We have commitment to the government. We will start. We have already, in fact, we have already started buying the low-grade rock phosphate from the Rajasthan state government. Okay. At our site, it's already come. We already bought 30,000 tons. The commercial production will take another 3 months, 4 months maximum. Okay. The plant will come into the production. So in this year, definitely we'll get some raw material from that 3S Mineral in our plant. Rock phosphate mine, definitely it will take 2 years time. The exploration work and everything, maybe 2.5 years time will take. But yes, this will take another 4 months. We'll get our own rock phosphate.
Okay. So I think good to know that, Ravindraji. Now tell me one thing, currently the rock phosphate which we are using, is it entirely imported or some part of that rock phosphate comes from domestic sources also?
See, we buy 75-80% we buy from Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals. Okay. Some quantity, definitely, whenever there is a price, we get advantage. We import also. But yes, The next door from the plant is hardly 5-6 kilometers. There is a government mine, which is only the one mine, high grade mine. We buy from them.
Okay. So I
And the
think
plant, what we are putting up, the 3S mineral is there only.
okay, okay, understood. I think one thing is very clear, Ravindraji, from what you are telling, that once your own mine gets into operation, plus this other investment where you have made and you get the rock phosphate from that company, then I think to a large extent the price volatility on rock phosphate will be considerably reduced. That is something
Yes.
because it's a global commodity, and I think globally prices move up and down, so that will give you better stability on your profitability margins, which is I think is my thinking right? That's what I wanted to ask.
You are 100% right. The cost will be, there will be a huge difference.
Yeah.
And
okay. Fine. Let's
so that will, the time will come and show that is definitely there is a huge difference.
Okay. Okay. No, I think good to know. I think since you're planning it in a very meticulous manner. Ravindraji, now on the LAPSA side, you said you got a very old relationship with Hindustan Unilever. Now tell me one thing, does this agreement also take into account any price increases, because it's a long-term contract? Does it also offer you some benefit in terms of when the raw material price goes up, or is there a normal kind of price increase every year? Because
It's
typically
very clear
that is something everybody would like to know. Yeah.
It is very clear understanding between us, between the company. We are doing since years, 2008, 2009. It's a very clear, the prices goes up. It is, we get the same, it is passed on to the Unilever. Like the moment the price goes up, the price goes down. Our conversion costs are, some charges are fixed where, we have to just build in, that's all.
Okay.
So we are very safe on that part.
Okay. Understood. So I think there's a fair amount of flexibility in the arrangement, so which allows you to both, when the raw material price goes down, you have to pass it, but when it goes up, you obviously get a price increase.
Yes,
That's
we get that then.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now Ravindraji, apart from the financials, I think what markets would like to know is that, how do we add value to the customers? Like, typically, if I were to ask you that in the same industry, if, our company is doing a much better job, then in terms of value addition, how do you add more value to the customer? Like you have been catering to Hindustan Lever. In what way have you come up to their expectations? Is it your service? Is it your execution? Is it your quality? What exactly, 2-3 qualitative points which can highlight that we are doing a much better job, and that's why a company like Hindustan Lever is with us. So if you could please share your thoughts.
Yeah. See, we started with very long. One is the major is the quality is the one, the service part. We are like, the time when they require, we are there, the schedule, time, the quality is the main, commitment is the main. Whatever we commit, we do it. We have our own team to supply, to transport the material. That is the main. We have our own people to work for this. So the quality, time, and the dedication, they have given us lots of chance. How we are coming up with the new plant with the with the Unilever only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we are getting more and more opportunities they are giving us.
Okay. Okay. So now
and very transparency is the very important. We're very transparent with the company. It's very, very important.
Okay, now sorry to keep you waiting, Rushilji. I think my next question is to you. Rushilji, on the future kind of strategy, on the future expansion, I think I wanted to know from you as a perspective, what are the kind of things the company has planned over the next, say, 1 to 2 years? If you could just share some inputs for the benefit of our viewers.
For sure. So we actually have a lot of exciting stuff planned for the future. As my dad mentioned about the rock phosphate being available to us much easily. Other than that, we're coming up with expansion in Kadalur, Tamil Nadu, where we'll be coming up with a sulfuric acid plant, and we're also coming up with LAPSA 90 over there. Okay. So this is an upcoming project that we're in the middle of commencing.
Okay. And typically, since this is a financial related question, I'll talk to Parmar ji. परमार जी, ये जो एक्सपेंशन हो रहा है, इसमें मोटा मोटी सर कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर हमने कितना प्लान किया है? लाइक Rushil was mentioning that in south we are going to set up another facility plus the mine which I think we have decided to start on our own. What is the total capex which we are planning for all these initiatives? If you could please clarify.
Yes, say for Tamil Nadu project, the all-inclusive capex is around 48 crores. Out of that, we have already spent around 11 crores. which includes buying the land, which we have taken a possession in last July 23. The construction is underway. Civil foundation work is about to get complete, and the plant commissioning will start somewhere around this month end or September first half, and likely commissioning by December. So we have already deployed our fund from our internal accruals, and as you see from our IPO proceedings, around 33 crores we have taken for this greenfield project. Out of 33 crore, 5 crore will be for the buildings and civil work, and around 28 crore will be for the plant and machinery. And the out of total proceeding, around 25 crore will be for using as a working capital for our existing operation.
Understood. So basically, Ravindraji, now I was going to come to the IPO question to you. Like, we are planning to go public. So basically, ideally, the IPO is going to be meant for a certain amount to finance the plant and machinery and the working capital. So, in fact, Ravindra, Pawarji, if you can tell me, what is the total size of the capital market offering? If you could just give us a number, that would help us understand how big is the capital market offering.
Can you just repeat it? Capital market?
I said, what is the size of the public issue? I mean, the
IPO size, yes. We are basically offering around 68 lakh shares for this fresh IPO, fresh shares issued. And the total size of IPO will be 67.35 crores.
Okay.
67.35.
Okay, fine. Understood. Now, another thing which I want to ask you, sir, basically on the finance side is like, we saw a slight dip in revenue for FY24 and profitability was also down. Now, tell me one thing, was there any specific event which happened and that was the reason for the drop in revenue and profit? Because if you see the earlier 2 years, revenue has grown. I mean, in FY24, there's a slight dip in revenue, slight dip in profit. So any specific reason for this? And is it a one-off event? And how do you see the current year, without again giving a number, but how has FY25 started? Because we are already now in the month of August. So how can we expect that whether FY25 will be a good, strong bounce back year for the company?
Yes, sir. Actually, I will answer your question in two parts. Say like as compared to 21, 22 and 22, 23, there was a major global event which has happened in terms of Russia and Ukraine war, where the, like all the commodity and all the prices had gone on very upward side. One of our raw material, which is LAB, linear alkyl benzene, which is derived basically from the crude oil. It is we are buying from the refinery, Gujarat refinery, Reliance Petroleum. So this product is basically driven by the crude oil prices. When the crude oil price has gone from average $60-70 to $110, $120 during that financial year 22 to 23. So that is how you can see. And our as Mr. Ravinder Singh has explained, our business model is a cost plus pricing. So in that case, my raw material input goes, my finished product pricing also goes up. So that is how you can see a sharp increase in top line. But the next year, when the situation has come to normal, the crude oil price has now stabilized at around $80-85. So there was a decrease in LAB price, and that is how the top line has come up. But the company has grown in terms of, there was a growth in terms of volume. If you look at in financial year 22-23, we have sold around 45,000 ton of LABSA, which is our main revenue generating segment. Against that 44,000 ton, this 23-24, we have sold almost 60,000 ton of LABSA. So there was a volume growth of around 17,000 ton. Despite of like reduction in my sales price, which is linked to crude oil price, the volume, because of volume growth, there was not much of the decline in the top line. So my top line has come from 768 crore to 704 crore. There was not much decline because of there was a volume growth of around 34%. And for the current year, in say like for 4 months completed in July, we have already achieved around 21,000 ton of LABSA. And this year we are projected to do somewhere around 68 to 70,000, as Mr. Ravinder Singh has said. So that the LABSA business itself will contribute somewhere around 720 crores. And the rest of the revenue will come from fertilizer business. So definitely there will be a significant growth this financial year.
And as far as the prices are concerned, sir, you mentioned that last year there was reduction in selling prices for Lapsa, but current year, how are the trends in Lapsa prices showing? Like, have they stabilized? Have they bottomed out? If you could, please share these inputs for us.
Yes, just because it is driven from the crude oil price, and crude oil price, if you see the last almost 1 year, it is ranging between say like 80 to $85, $87. It is ranging between that for also. LAB price has also moved in the same bracket. There is not much of the volatility, and that is how our LAPSA price is also almost stable over the last period of 1 year. The growth will come in terms of volume. So our top line sales revenue will be multiplied the more volume we do.
Okay. Understood. So basically, please correct me if I'm wrong, sir. But whenever our volumes go up and our revenue goes up, then obviously to that extent, proportionately, our operating margins also improve in the business. So is this thinking
Yes,
right?
sir. Correct. So right now we have a installed capacity of 1,05,000 ton, and more we produce and more we sell. My overall overhead will come down drastically, come down. So my margin will go up, and obviously there is a say like output goes up, my overall profitability also goes up.
Okay. So understood. So I think you've got a decent buffer in the sense that you've got a capacity of 1,05,000 tons, and this year you are looking at 70,000. So from the financial standpoint, sir, operating leverage also will be there. Because as you utilize more and more of your capacity, operating leverage benefits also should kick in for you. At least in the next say 1 to 2 years. Which is understandably quite clear. So that's a good sign. Now, sir, tell me one thing in terms of the working capital. I think company is going to raise some money for working capital also. Typically, what is the working capital cycle in our B2B business? Like we obviously service clients like Lever in the SSP side. We sell fertilizers and in our own brand. Tell me one thing. Typically, from the time you sell the product, it goes to the dealer, your distribution network, and then the money is coming from the customer. What is the normal working capital cycle for both the businesses, that is SSP and for basically Lapsa?
For my chemical business, the working capital cycle is typically from say date of production to like the material dispatch and the money received. That typical cycle is around 15 days time
Oh,
from
15.
production to money received
Okay.
for
So
Lapsa business,
that is pretty
which is my
fast, sir.
88,
It is pretty fast.
which
15 days
is
बहुत कम है.
yes, which is my 88% business out of my total revenue. 88% revenue come from Lapsa business, and it has got around 15 days cycle working capital. And fertilizer, since it is a seasonal usage, like it is used in Rabi crop and Kharif crop. So we produce around the year, and then it is dispatched to wholesaler, retailer, and also it goes into warehouse also, and it goes to Hindustan Urvarak Limited also. So typically the cycle is around 90 to 120 days from say like date of production, because and then there is a involvement of government subsidy also. There are two part. One is MRP and subsidy declared by government, nutrient based subsidy. So typical cycle is around 90 days, but sometime depending upon the monsoon and the government policy and the fund availability, it is typically between 90 to 120 days. But since my out of my total revenue, fertilizer segment contributes only 12%. So my overall working capital cycle as a company ranges between 35 to 45 days.
Understood. Fine. Ravindraji, now the next question to you is a little strategic in nature. Now, see, sir has explained that, Parmarji has explained that, fertilizer accounts for just 12%, and the major bulk of the money, business comes from Lapsa. Now, any strategic reason for us to remain in this business? Because otherwise, अगले 2 साल में हम fertilizer में कोई बड़ा काम करने वाले हैं. जैसे अभी आपने रॉक फॉस्फेट का बोला कि हम माइन खरीद रहे हैं, अरेंजमेंट है कोई दूसरी कंपनी के साथ. So what is your sense? Like, will Lapsa be a major part of revenue for us, or whether the fertilizer business also will increase its share gradually? Because 10-12% is significantly small compared to the Lapsa business. So what is the thoughts of the management? Do you want to increase this business in future, or do you think this will remain where it is?
No, definitely we'll increase the business. We are putting up a plant in Dhule. We are expanding our capacity there,
Correct.
putting up a new plant there.
Correct.
The demand is there. The demand will be always there when you see
Correct.
the fertilizer.
Okay.
Yes. And Dhule, we are coming up with a big project again, 130,000
Okay. So
metric
basically,
ton plant per.
so
The
basically,
consumption in Maharashtra is huge. And
Yeah.
rock phosphate mine is next door, will be at Meghnagar. The distance between Meghnagar and Dhule is very close. The
Okay.
consumption is there. So yes, definitely we are expanding some business in Dhulia, that is Maharashtra MP border. We'll increase and we'll go for some other more fertilizer, other things also. And this is the chemical, is a separate business in Kadlur,
Yeah.
what we are doing.
So I think one can safely assume, I mean, without getting any commitment from you guys, that at least over the next 2-3 years, the fertilizer business also should get, get bigger, because, you have your rock phosphate mine, obviously margins will get better. In the next 2 to 3 years, we should expect bigger revenues even from the fertilizer business. So is this thinking?
Yes, there will be a huge, yes, definitely there will be a huge margins. I have our own rock phosphate and sulfuric acid, the other thing which is again with us.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
both the product with us. So definitely there will be a margin in fertilizer also. It will do very well in future.
I think last question.
Avinash,
Yeah.
Avinash sir, meanwhile, I have interesting fact to share with you.
Yeah,
In Udaipur, Rajasthan, we have fertilizer plant and LAPSA plant. In LAPSA plant, we have two raw materials. One is LAB and another is sulfuric acid. When we produce LAPSA, we generate dilute sulfuric acid, which is actually raw material for production of fertilizer also. So we have actually integrated plant complex in Udaipur, where right now we are buying rock phosphate from outside, but when we have our generation of rock phosphate, then we will be self-dependent, both the raw material, rock phosphate as well as the another raw material, dilute acid, which will be
fine.
itself. So this is one area, and for the Tamil Nadu plant also, for LAPSA production, sulfuric acid is required. So we are putting up sulfuric acid plant, which will generate the power also, and that power generation will be good enough to run the entire complex. So we will be actually self-sufficient for power generation and consumption also. So that will be also bring great saving in power consumption.
Okay. So I think nicely mentioned by you, sir. Ravindraji, now last question for today. We have seen COVID, we have seen very difficult times, in the past 2 years. Hopefully now the Indian economy has taken off. This year, monsoons also have been pretty good. Plus, of course, the
Yes.
LAPSA business also is doing very well. Now, tell me one thing, sir. What is the main risk in our business? Like every business has got some risk attached, but in our business, what is the key risk which is present? And secondly, how have we managed this risk optimally over such a long period of time? So, if you can please share your thoughts on this aspect.
See, when we talk about risks in LAPSA, with the chemical which is used in detergent, so the consumption is always there. So I don't find any risk. Commitment is there from the Unilever. So we supply, we manufacture for them. Even for the new plant also. For the new plant, when we talk about sulfur, the commitment, 100% commitment is there. So as it, when we talk about chemical, there is no risk.
Okay.
And we talk about fertilizer, the season is very nice, huge demand is there. So coming days will be very, very good for us. And now coming with the rock phosphate is there with us, acid is there with us, the market is there, demand is there. I can see things will be better,
So I think so. It means, fortunately, touch wood, everything seems to be in the right, direction.
Very positive, very positive.
I think it's really nice to know. Sir, it was a nice meeting. I mean, a pleasure for me to talk to all of you. So, Ravindraji, Rushil, and Parmarji, thank you very much. My best wishes to you, your entire management, and best wishes for your.
Thank you so much.